Xchange fam, hello, welcome back. It's your boy Green, and I'm with my main man Vega, dog.
It's your boy.
Listen,
back again.
You haven't seen this combo in a minute.
It's honestly, I don't. I'm trying to think when's the last time you guys saw us. Like pre PC. That's pre Corona. So I would say somewhere like around there. It's been a while, but it feels nice to be back. You know, under this amazing light setup provided by none other than, you know, Long, aka, go ahead, put it right here, Pop Tag.
Perfect.
If you guys want to shout him out, drop a comment on his stuff, not just our stuff. Just show him some love, let him know he's appreciated.
Skin looking good.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, we are here to talk about some recent things that's been dropping, some collaborations, how we feel. Just have some conversation. Have you guys comment below, you know, like it, and just let us know what you think about the conversation and tune in so we can kind of click with you guys. So the latest drop or collaboration would be
Travis and Fragment. Yeah, Travis and Fragment. There's been like so many collaborations lately, but that I would definitely say that's like the most influential, if you will, and biggest one like right now in terms of what's going on.
Right.
Definitely colorways, obviously what we expected. You know, you're gonna expect that like backward swoosh in blue, and they kind of stay true to that. I will say with the highs, I know they try to go like a different route than what was initially shown, which was the regular fragments, like black toe with a reverse swoosh. And we ended up getting a, if you didn't know, 1985 unreleased sample colorway. So that's where that blue toe with the white comes from. If you didn't know, that was not just a whim, like they just picked that colorway. There was some thought behind that, which I thought was decent. I wasn't completely blown away with it. I didn't really think it was anything crazy. The lows though, those are the hot ticket right there.
Listen, I definitely like the lows.
The lows are the hot ticket.
The lows are definitely better than the highs.
I would say as far as just looking at them, like, and if you're going back to the Travis highs versus the lows, I'd pick the highs. But this time around, I would actually pick the lows. Yeah. Just as far as color and everything, like I just feel like it really hits on the marker for what a Fragment and Travis collaboration would look like to the normal public eye, if you will.
100%.
Put together.
I haven't actually got to see the highs yet, but seeing the lows, of course, you know, I had to cop them.
Yeah.
Got the 11.
Got to.
But when they came in the other night, just the materials on them, man, they were money.
Like we both had the same initial like reaction of just kind of opening them, being like, wow, like it, you know, almost breathtaking. Like, wow, let me just take all this in and see, you know, quality. Or we know, you know, luckily enough, we both do have Fragment ones, but we know what to expect with a Fragment Jordan 1. You know what to expect from a Travis, so to kind of see where that parallel meets as far as quality was nice to see, and I feel like they really hit it on the nail. Travis lows were super nice. I actually have seen the highs in person, and like leather on those was super nice. I think actually out of all of the things, you know, included in the collaboration, a nod to them with the shoes, but the apparel was what really I think was just taken to the next level. As far as like design, they included Cause in the collaboration, which you guys obviously know his influence, and being in the sneaker and streetwear culture, you know that Cause has such like a prominent, you know, space in what streetwear culture is. So to see that, you know, on a scale be Travis Scott, Fragment, and then Cause all together is just literally like insane, man. But
bro, it's like
when you're saying that,
it doesn't even sound like, just because like you're saying, like the ranking of that brand being so high, Travis being, I feel like, so fresh in the
still, like, even if you say like
outside of music, he's not really in the I would say fashion or design realm. So it's like, for him to be able to get that collaboration or get that respect,
something of that caliber, dude, is just insane. Like, you look at it and, you know, like Fragment obviously has done other collaborations with Nike, but you know their utmost best work is the Jordan 1 with them. So to be able to see like Travis Scott and to think about that whole process of like, dang, dude, like you were in the design room, you know, like picking out what colorways you want. Like that's all at your disclosure. Like it's inspiring to say the least, to be able to know that you can bridge something of like a gap like that with 3 different generational artists all together, culturally or whatever, just all coming together under one roof is just insane.
I mean, I think overall it's like nowadays, if you're not collaborating with another brand, you're kind of flat-footed. You could say like, you know, back then it was, or not, I wouldn't say back then, but I mean, Nike was getting with basketball players, you know what I mean, and athletes in general, or Adidas or whatever. They're getting with athletes,
right?
Whereas nowadays it's like the big brands,
the influencers, like people who have reach. Yeah. And going off of what you were saying, I definitely think one of the first, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't want to say that to a fact that is one of the first people, but Adidas, I would say, using Jeremy Scott, that was one of the first times seeing, you know, like a influencer designer kind of work with a bigger scale brand and do something like that. Obviously there's Kanye West and he's an artist and stuff like that, and I definitely pay homage to that. I know that he's done great work. So yeah, obviously Ye would be up there. But just seeing how Jeremy Scott, you know, remember like he had people walking around with like bears on their shoes, dude, like wings, like stuff like that. Like seeing early on stuff like that and seeing these new collaborations now, you can really see how far limits can be pushed. Like, let alone, you know, you want to talk about like Virgil and Off-White, like completely re-engineered a Jordan, like a Jordan 1. Like, you want to take that on its own. He re-engineered every model, but you look at that Jordan 1, like, dude, he ripped that completely apart and remade it. So, you know, like when you get into these new collaborations and stuff like that, it leaves room for critiques. That's one thing I will say. And it leaves you to be like, yo, with so many collaborations, like what hasn't been done? Yeah. Or like what colorway can I do that's not like something that's expected? Or like, yo, me and Travis Scott are working together. Like they know we're going to do a backwards swoosh, so how do we do something different? That's how I think that high top colorway came about. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it definitely gives it, I feel like, the collaborations with being like, you know, music artists, it gives it such a wide, you know what I mean, wide approach to the music industry itself is so big. So like introducing that to sneaker culture, being able to tie that in, and they've always been, I would say, like one in the same, or something that is influenced by each other. I think it also like it opens up this lane of like opportunity for like almost anyone. I wouldn't say anyone, but like, definitely. Like, you know, look at Sean Witherspoon, dude. Like, he's from here, like from somebody Virginia, like Richmond, that Virginia. If you make some type of positive step, impact, exactly, in fashion or in music or in anything, it kind of like it opens up the lane, like, and you can be seen and have your shot as well. Like Joe Fresh Goods and like, you know, like for these guys are not huge people, but it just it gives you like opportunity, you know what I mean? And it's like they're really putting out what they're feeling and what they're seeing, and it's completely them, like, bro, and it's fire. Yeah. And it's not like, you know, that's one of the things that I feel like before. I will see a lot of, like, I think the newest one that I just saw, I think it was Kyrie Irving, I think, was talking about his shoe. Yeah. And he was saying, like, I didn't approve of this shoe. I wasn't like, I don't know what this colorway is. Like, I saw the model on somebody else before I even saw it. Like, this was not me. And, like, it's crazy to think that, like, from a basketball perspective, it's like, hey, we're worried about performance. You know, this is what sold well last year and this is what we're doing. But like an influencer, it's like, hey, this is your coloring book. Use it how you like. Right. Like, you want to rip this whole thing apart? Like, go ahead. Just tell me how it's going to work and we'll do it. Right. It's insane. Like, those parallels have changed so much. It became less broadened, if you will, just because of these pioneers that have kind of paved the way for these people. You know what I mean? Like I said, like Sean Witherspoon being here, like I remember hearing and like watching that, like them saying, you know, I don't know how this is gonna work, like a 97 with like a 1, like stuff like that. Just that's like a fusion Jordan almost, you know what I mean? Like Nike's not doing stuff like that, and you look at their influence now with Nike, they've done another 97 1 rendition, you know what I mean? Like, it's like he said, it opens up and broadens more areas for people like us, people like you, anyone, or like anybody, to be able to push your limits of your mind, to be able to like, yeah, that's not unattainable. And I think that's the biggest thing to come from like collaborations, is showing like the little guy can do it too, not just like somebody with like a big time deal or a big corporation. Like, you have these good ideas. Like, Nike really does want to hear this shit. Like, they are taking all these ideas and like running with it. Like those you guys have probably seen them. Comment down below if you guys know what I'm talking about. There's these Jordan 1 zips, so you can zip them into like a low top. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So that shoe was actually created by like one of these sneaker customizers on Instagram, and he like actually made the shoe and like showed it, and everybody was like, that's a crazy good idea, like blah blah blah, and like Nike ends up taking that idea and like using it like 3 years later. Bro, I mean, so it's like crazy to think like it's kind of like a clear example of that would be, which I don't know if you guys know, but Rel had got his collab with Nike. Yeah. And this was,
probably like maybe 3 or 4
Shout out to
years
Bevies.
ago. Yeah, and he got to put his colorway out of, I think it was the Air Force One. It was
He did a 97, I think.
Yep, a 97, and it was those other like runners. Long will plug it up there, you'll see it. But he got to do that, and then I believe a year later, the Bevy was like literally in
the colorway was like
the same exact one, and it was never a colorway before.
And so it's just like y'all just ran off with the whole
it's
colorway.
Like how? I mean, it almost like at the same time. I mean, it's Nike, so what do you expect?
Yeah, no, but like you're saying, it's just like. Like us, like we talk about ideas all the time. So it's just like, man, like imagine us in front of like a Nike meeting, like they would snatch our ideas up with like no question. Like
I feel like that's what they do. I feel like they're just like sitting up there and they're giving different people opportunity, and they're seeing what pops, and they grab it and they run with it. And it's like, I mean, it's not. I guess it's not like
from a business perspective. Like, yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? But
I do get it exactly.
I get it.
That's what I'm saying.
Don't get me wrong. I get you. I hear you loud and clear, Nike. I hear you. I don't want this to discourage my chances of doing a shoe with Nike, all right? I definitely hear you loud and clear.
Yeah.
But no, even like you were saying about Travis Scott, like think about what a gold mine that felt like having Travis like sign a Nike. That was like almost, you guys are going to crucify me in the comments, but like Nike's new Kanye. You know what I mean? Like being able to design or being able to have that influence. You know what I mean? People talk before, I'm talking like 2008, 2009, like this is, y'all won't there.
If you were there.
Y'all won't there. But like the Kanye effect back then was like, yo, Kanye wore leather pants. Like I'm buying leather pants the next day. Like that was like the thing. So like now it has almost like tripled the Travis effect. It's just insane. Like his kids are cult like followers of like anything he does. So let alone like him making a product that's almost an instant sellout. Like he's made drinks that are like sold out in stores. You know what I mean?
Like it's crazy. Anything he puts his brand on, it's out of here.
So to be able to have that notoriety or that label be associated with like you, like yo Green, like yeah man, like Green did a project for me, like sold blah 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 blah, like oh so you hear the next company like yeah man he did great work. You're like how can I get my chance with Travis Scott? Like how can I do that? Like
so where is the, at least in your mind, where is the where's the line drawn where
like
it's
the
like
cutoff?
you're doing doing too much? Is there even a line? That's like I feel like the next thing, mark my words, I feel like Travis is gonna design a car. I feel like he's gonna mark my words, he's gonna design a car. He's gonna design something crazy. Kith on him.
I think he's gonna do
BMW.
I think like a Lambo or something, dude.
A Lamb?
Yeah, he was driving around in a Lamb truck, like something crazy, man. Like Travis is so ahead. Think about like
I feel like it would be
a
like
brown like or olive like Lamb truck, like something crazy.
I don't know if Lamborghini would let him do that.
But
I feel like it would be more like a maybe a Mercedes.
But he's doing a McDonald's deal, and like now look at Saweetie and like J Balvin had one, and like all these people. Like he is like the one to push that
that's
boundary.
Where you can say he's kind of like Kanye, where it's like
he's kicking down those doors.
Effect is crazy. Like when you first seen the 750, it was like, what is that?
I remember.
But then it was like, then you start seeing like 3 years later, you start seeing like a 450. And you're like,
what is that?
A foam runner. And it's like,
yeah, but it's seeing like how, that's another thing. Like that's a great topic to go into. Like how like far ahead like your thinking has to be to even be able to design a shoe. So also think about that. Like you are designing something that is supposed to have a lifetime shelf life, if you will.
Right.
I mean, like sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Like a 1985 like Chicago one to this day is beauty in my eyes. Like I look at that shoe and I'm like, this is like, you know, it's my favorite shoe. Like this is beautiful, dude. Like your pair, like worn, beautiful. It's like that shoe is created and it is able to be retroed and have a shelf life that can be replicated and redone and still hold that value.
So that's where I see like it's kind of like two sides to it, because it's like I feel like Jordan wasn't one in there like actually drawing it out, right? So it's you got like the creative side where you got somebody like Kanye, which is like what
really
lives,
hands-on.
Yes, which kind of is living in like these collaborations and these things moving forward where artists are getting to actually put what they want on a shoe. And then you have more like iconic, like iconic in your performance, which was like I was saying earlier, a lot of like performing like athletes were the ones getting the shoes, and I feel like that's what made the shoe like.
So it's just the name almost is like the selling point, like
right. And then of course, you know, that the Jordan 1, I mean, it lived in those all those years of like the retro life, like in the 90s where it was just like crazy, you know, vintage life, which is now coming back into
Completely
play.
back.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's already been back, but I mean, like, it's becoming more, I would say, like mainstream. And so it's like, I don't know, man.
It's just there's just such like a range almost for what a collaboration can do or where it can go or where it can grow, if you will. Like, I just feel that collaborations are really such a pivotal part. And like, there was a big topic that I had read about, I want to say on either like Hypebeast or Highs Notoriety or something.
Yeah.
And I was reading, and it was talking about like, our collaborations the end of streetwear culture. And one of the subject lines that they had put and referenced was the Supreme Louis Vuitton collaboration. And they spoke to that as a point of, you know, was that the demise of like streetwear culture? Like, that is a high-end like brand up here that's an atelier, you know what I mean? Then you look at like a streetwear brand like Supreme that is still so high, but like, those are just two completely different scales. And for them to collaborate on something like that and to have that kind of influence, and you just kind of look at it like, what is, like, is that really the end, or is this the future?
Right.
Like,
I mean, it's kind of like,
especially from our perspective, it's like, no, that's definitely not the end.
Right,
Like,
because I mean, you think of, you got somebody, you can almost say like, you're kind of getting old.
yeah.
Right? Because, for example, an old head, I mean, you can put whatever age on him, but an old head, you know, comes in and he's like, what are those? You know what I mean? Like, why are they $500-$600?
I don't understand why those are like,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if he was kind of up to date, or if he was this and that, he would kind of be more in tune to kind of like collaborate in his mind, kind of, you know what I mean? About
exactly,
like what,
exactly.
which is kind of like the future, that's what a collaboration really is. It's kind of like open your mind to two different brands and bring them together. Like, for example, you got Supreme and Louis V, but then Virgil comes in and he basically like, I mean, it's not that he took Off-White there, but Off-White, very high-end street brand, and he's almost like putting that style into Louis Vuitton. And it's a thing. It's selling out.
And
like,
that's one of the biggest things I think now, and that is so pivotal to the advancement of whether it be streetwear, you know, fashion, anything like that, is those pioneers like Virgil kind of pushing those limits like that. And even coming to like a collaboration, I think from a business, you know, you look at like Louis V and Supreme, you look at like Nike and Fragment, any of these things that you are looking at from a business standpoint, I can't see how that would even be looked at as a no, because you are bringing in revenues from both of those.
100%.
You get what I'm saying? That's the way I look at it. So it's like, I don't even think the money aspect is even a defining factor. I just think it's more so the heads of like these people, like, does it work?
Like you said, it's kind of looking to the future.
Yeah, like, does this, like, how is this? Because people are looking at those, the Louis V Air Forces.
Right.
And all that stuff, you know, there's how many colorways that are coming out. People are looking at those and they're talking about retails being like 1,000 and like crazy stuff. It's, you know, factory made by Louis Vuitton. It's craftsmanship. I definitely understand that. But, you know, I've seen a lot of old heads talking about like, man, I remember seeing these at like flea markets, man. You know, like all this stuff. And they're like, now y'all are paying like $1,000. And it's like, it is just insane, like how the times will change. And, you know, like back in the day, like I remember being in like middle school and like, you know, you see like a kid wearing like a knockoff shoe in school. It happens. You know, I'm not knocking nobody, but I see like the clear Air Forces, like the pink back, like stuff like that. But like now, that's a heater. Like that's like, yo, I need those. Like, where can you find this? It's like things like that are coming completely back full circle. That I think collaborations have such a big part in helping bring some of that stuff back to light and kind of showing, you know, what you can kind of do or what you can push into these collaborations. And I feel like that's where a lot of these designers are getting off that area of like, hey, this is like the stuff that I wanted to try on my own, but I'm using your label and your kind of big brand and audience to be able to really show the world this thing.
Brings
like,
back that Fragment. And that Travis Scott. I mean, it's everything that we've been talking about.
There's just so much that you could do with a Travis and Fragment design, and then I feel like with what they didn't do in the shoe, they made up for more than enough with the clothes. You know, we were talking about the denim.
The denim, the sweats. I mean, the weight, everything is
the hoodie, like the zip up hoodie, like the skeleton, like that was like some up against the wall stuff, like from back in the day. Like, we got a couple of like the shirts and the shorts and quality stuff. Like, you know, you get like Jordan brand stuff in sometimes, and it like feels like, I know you guys remember like the Jordan Supreme stuff. Like that stuff was like really thin. Came out back in the day, like stuff like that. Like now, quality is such. That's another thing. Quality is such like an important thing. Like, I think, and that comes with, you know, some of Kanye's influence and kind of showing like, him wearing workwear and stuff, like why is he wearing this? Because it's heavy quality. This is like heavy duty stuff. So that
stuff.
when you get Kanye's Yeezy season products, you're like, oh, that's why he was wearing it, for reference, so that this would feel like how that garment feels. It's like all that goes into like a collaboration. And I think that as a designer, as a creative, as anybody, that is your job to be able to tell that story with your garment or your collaboration, or kind of let the consumer be able to feel that through your garment or whatever you are purchasing. You know what I mean? It should be able to, like Joe Fresh Goods does an amazing job with that.
Crazy.
Amazing. He tells a story with everything that he does, like all of his products, whether it be shoes, hats,
all
stuff
of his
with Adidas. Like
is
he will put
money.
a secret message, like anything, bro. Another person, Tremaine Emery, Denim Tears.
Facts.
How he is using his platform to speak on so many different things, and you know, show light, like the Wreath jeans, you know, I was wearing those and stuff like that, and just a story behind those, you know what I mean? And a lot of this stuff we'll make sure is tagged down below so you guys can read up on some of the stuff or check it out. But like I said, a lot of the stuff like Tremaine Emery, Denim Tears, shout out the whole like Donda team, you know, like Jerry, all of them are completely killing it. But you really, like I was saying, you just kind of look at a collaboration between person A and corporation B, and to just know that it went from a time of like it being the corporation like telling you can do this to like now, like no, the creative is like, I'm doing this.
I feel like that's like a lot of that. I feel like was Kanye though.
Yeah, of course. Like, of course.
When he was like, you know what, Nike, you're not gonna give me full creative direction.
I'm out
of here.
That
and
move. Let's talk about like that.
Bro, then he goes to Adidas and literally just
revamps,
takes the brand all the way up, drops the new shoes, and it's like.
But how would you imagine that as a creative? You know, you make stuff as well. Being on the winning side, if you will, at the time, you know, with Nike and having such pivotal success and all of these things, and then having a moment where you were like, throwing all this away and I'm gonna start something, like taking a stick and starting a fire.
Imagine
like,
where you are here, and it's like, it really brings light to where, as a creative or as you're making any piece, like not even just clothing, I mean music, anything, like what you have inside of you is really what's probably meant to be put out.
Course.
And no matter how big the person is that is in front of you, you know what I mean, it doesn't
not just
matter.
A price
right, it's there's no value on it. And if they don't see that, go to the next one. You know what I mean?
And you see how much that changed for Kanye. Like
changed the whole. That's what the game.
Yeah, like I literally can like look at it and I'm like thinking like, we just saw Red October today. Like, yo, Red October is an amazing shoe. Yeezy Plaid. Anything he did with Nike, and do not get me wrong, his best work. Like some of the craziest things I've ever seen, and he literally shaped how we look at shoes differently now and showed different silhouettes. Like, you know, you look at like a Blink Yeezy, you know, a Yeezy 1, and it came out 2008, 2009, somewhere like around there.
8 or 9, one of those.
And you look at that and you think about like how Kanye was dressing, or like you look at how the shoe was made and like how he was wearing it back then, and then now like a resurgence of new things, like styles kind of changing. It's like, yo, that style's almost fit back in now, so I can throw these Blinks back on. Whereas like now, a new Yeezy is like a foam runner, like something bulky, kind of small. Like it's just
some out of this world, really. Like some you would like.
It's insane. Like you look at like 450s and it's like, dude, that doesn't even look like wearable. Like,
it's a sock with like
a sole.
Like exactly.
Like a sock with like a sole on
melted
it.
Sole on the bottom of it.
But still looks so sick.
Right.
Long got a plug up. Fit right there of my boy snapping with these. He be going crazy.
Listen, the 450 and the foam runner.
Just say
it's not debatable. Like those are probably my favorite pairs, and like every single time I would see those pictures in the beginning, it always like struck my mind in a way where it's like, it just took me a second, but I was like, just to take it in, and then it was like
being a
like,
Kanye fan. That's how you're gonna be. That's how you're gonna be being a Kanye fan. You're gonna, whether it's music or whatever.
I don't know though, man, because like I know a lot of Kanye fans, and they're not rocking with some of his work. Kanye is my favorite artist of all time. Like I've always been on like such like a roller coaster with him forever. But I think it comes to a point of there being like a biased Kanye opinion where it's like, yo, Kanye's putting out a song, like it's gonna be heat, like blah blah. Like anything
obviously
he makes is good.
Yeah. And then you grow up and you obviously get to a point where you're like, okay,
you're right.
Might not be it, brother. might not be it. All right, I can't give you that one. All right, you hit on the last 3. This one's a miss, and the next one might be all right. But this one, not it. Right. But no, man, like the 1050s, like those boots, like the ones that he wore at the show, like I have been posting about those forever. Right. And it's like stuff like that. And you think about Kanye and like, remember when he showed those, however many 600 pairs of Yeezys or whatever, remember it was like crazy aerial shot. And it was
and they're like in circles by colors.
We still haven't even seen all those colorways.
No.
It is insane to just think about like, yeah, man, like Nike didn't give him that creative control. Adidas heard that was what Kanye didn't like and was like, now you get full creative control. Yeah. You can do anything you want. Yeah. And he is like ripping, like they said, he makes like so many different colorways of like each shoe. Like he literally makes like a color wheel of like each shoe, like just to see like what like works.
You've seen the pictures where it's like it's literally like not every single one, but this is.
I remember it's like 500s and all that stuff. Yeah,
been doing for like 3+ years, 4+ years. You could just see the different pictures. Of course, there's newer ones and older ones, but they're literally just in a ring, like you said, in the colors.
It's just like, I think it just without Kanye, especially, I want to say that in the foremost of any of these people, right? But Kanye, Virgil, breaking down barriers now. Obviously, I don't want to sound like an ultra hype beast of saying like only those people, but when it comes to Virgil or Jerry Lorenzo or stuff like that, all of that was possible because of somebody like Kanye. Right. And all this stuff going forward now is possible because of the pioneers that are there to do that stuff for us as well. Right. Having a full rollout, like when Red October's came, there was no merch for Red October's. No. You know what I mean? There wasn't a Nike Kanye drop. Like, could you imagine though if there was like Nike Yeezy designed garments? Like, that's insane. You know what I mean? That's insane.
I don't even think he was even
imagine like
his name as Yeezy yet.
No,
at that point.
No way, no way.
He wasn't even. I mean, I know he was talking about getting with LV, but he wasn't. I don't think he was like my own brand, my own.
So like,
everything.
Imagine that though. You know what I mean? Like now, I feel like that's almost included when you're talking about a collaboration. Like, okay, you get a full merch rollout, you get to do a shoe design, you get a campaign as well, and you also get like that is crazy that limit has been pushed like that. You think about the money that goes into that, anything like all of that extra stuff that goes into there, and then you think about the product that you get in hand. Like that is not just as simple.
The full process of a collaboration.
It is months and months and months of preparing and collaborations and no's and approvals and disapprovals and samples and stuff like that. So
Kanye's been holding on to stuff for my fault.
No, you're good.
Kanye, he be holding stuff for
forever,
4 years.
Like he was holding on to foam runners and wearing them around for like months. Like months.
Like where are they at?
And then released them like one little drop, and then still didn't drop them mass produced, and then was like, all right, y'all can have them now. Like, it's insane, man. And I just think, like I was saying earlier, it's just so pivotal to what we do now. And like, you look 100%. At any of the things in here, man, like any of the things we have, so many collaborations that go into it, especially like one of the more recent things I've seen more so than the Fragment Travis was the new Supreme stuff. You look at like a lot of that stuff. I think Supreme is somebody I want to give my hats off to.
A lot of that.
They do a lot of collaborations, and I'm not necessarily speaking on clothes. They did like everything. Supreme Skittles.
Everything.
There's Supreme like wood logs coming out. There's
literally anything you can think of.
And I think to me, being like older now, I definitely think that's the stuff that I look to, and I'm like, that's cool. Right. Like I've designed products and I've done all this stuff before, and it's like, there's only so much you can like change about a t-shirt or put on. I mean,
you think about most brands in general though. Mm-hmm. They start off with a shirt, a hoodie, some shorts. Then they start maybe stretching out to like socks, hats, glasses, jacket, of course jackets, but like then they start going towards candles, and they start maybe trying to do the home goods and the accessories on a full scale. But like you said, Supreme, like they're
getting into doors.
I mean, it's hard to say that they were the first ones to really do it, but they really like blew with that. Like,
so I know like a lot of other brands will be able to do stuff like this. Like skate brands do that like a lot. Palace has done a lot of like cool collaborations and stuff like that. But to be able to take like I said, like those, I'm gonna repeat myself, like there's Supreme wood logs, dude. Like that is insane. Like Supreme wood logs. Like, could you imagine like having a fireplace and you cut open your like logs? It's a box logo on like the wood. Like that's crazy. The Skittles, like
you can't even like You can't even. Is the S on the Skittles gonna be shaped differently?
Right. Am I getting a box logo on the S? Like, what am I getting? Because Skittles already have an S up there.
Ridiculous.
It's
hey, Travis Scott meal though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the same thing, but in general, like, you know.
And you know, like, there's just so many different ranges for like what things can be done, and I just to end off that, you know, what we were talking about as far as just collaborating in itself.
Yeah.
There is just like no limit to what can be done, and I truly think within the past 3 years, 4 years, I would say, collaborations have just taken a completely different turn, like a 360, if you will, and just really kind of push that boundary of what product can be presented to the consumer. Price points, if you will. You know, I was watching the Pharrell. I don't know if you got to see that, the Pharrell sneaker shopping video. Check that out.
Seen it yet.
So Pharrell was like speaking on you know, different aspects of, you know, the resale game or just his sneakers or what he's created. And that's another pivotal person that's created and set the tone.
There's so many people like we could talk probably for like an hour, but we're not gonna do that. Guys.
Like we're not gonna.
We're gonna do this though more. Like we're gonna start, you know, getting to just different like we said earlier, different things that we have going on in the store. Like collaborations, things like that. My fault.
No, you're good. Like, no, just in general, stuff like that. Like, this is something that we want to provide for you guys. Just to be able to kind of have a conversation that feels more natural. You guys kind of pick our brain and kind of, if you guys have any questions or things you want to hear us kind of talk about, for sure, anything kind of like that.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I mean, like I said, we can talk about this subject of collaborations because there's so many people, like, there's so many brands that we love and things that we deal with every day.
So many.
But yeah, man, we're gonna probably get out of here. We're gonna do this, like I said, a little bit more. You'll start to see more of these pop up maybe every week, every other week. Long is sitting and he's just trying to decide like how to just give you guys just a little bit extra.
Like, will you in?
You know,
but not like pull you all the way.
You know what I mean? But anyways, we're gonna get out of here. We love you guys as always. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, man.
See you guys.